I want to talk to you seriously about sex in a dysfunctional, painful, toxic marriage. So, just had a conversation recently with some women in my difficult marriage class. What they're in difficult marriages, and almost all of them had these concerns and questions about how to handle this. So, there's a ton of different scenarios. There are some women who are in marriages where the husband doesn't want to have sex because he's either got a low sex drive or because he's engaging in pornography. And when men are watching pornography a lot and they are masturbating and they are getting their sexual needs that way, they pull away from their wife and they typically don't want to have relations with them, or they do, but they're demanding that their wife does things that are uncomfortable for her. So let me just say to start that you never have to do something that is uncomfortable, painful, hurtful, harmful to your body or to you as a person. You always have a right to say no. You always have a right to ask that it is something that is enjoyable to both of you, not just for one or the other person. You do not have to do anything your husband desires. And the more that he watches porn and gets ideas from porn, the more he might be asking you to do things that are new or different. And you might be wondering, where is he getting those things? And it's possible that that might be where he is getting those ideas. So in the scripture that is often brought up with this, it's 1 Corinthians 7, um, where it talks about, it says that the husband should, well, first of all, it says each man should have his own wife and each woman her own husband. So that's no adultery, no having, asking to you to bring in a third person into the bedroom. No. It talks about the husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife's body does not belong to her alone, but also to her husband. In the same way, the husband's body does not belong to him alone, but also to the wife. So if the wife has control over the husband's body, will she do things to her that would be hurtful? No. Would she do things to herself that were harmful or abusive? No. So it's in the same way, both ways. Then the husband uh, and the wife have influence over each other and are doing things that are loving and caring. Do not deprive each other except by mutual consent and for a time, so that you may devote yourself to prayer. Then come together again so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self control. This is where we get into trouble because women have been taught, well, I have to have sex with my husband, otherwise, he's going to go out and cheat on me. And if I don't, it's my fault. And if I don't, then it's my fault he goes into pornography. Here's the problem. So, yes, in with all things equal in a healthy relationship where you both care about each other, you both have healthy relationship skills, you both are loving, you both are giving and taking help one for each other and taking care of yourself, and you can settle conflict and you can bring up the things that are hurtful, then yes, then in that case, you are going to have a good sex relationship. And if you don't, you're going to address it and figure it out. And women are created to enjoy sex just as much as men are. Women can get pleasure from sex. You should expect your husband to give you consideration and be willing to spend time with you and learn about your own body to where you are able to also get enjoyment out of sex. Many women have not been taught that they are supposed to enjoy sex, and they don't. And the husbands don't treat them as if they're going to enjoy sex. And so it's a one-way street in their marriage. And that is very sad. And that makes for a very unfulfilling sexual relationship. So if that's an issue, I would direct you to, let's see, Bare Marriage. And they, with Sheila Gregor, and they have some really good materials that address that issue. But if you're in a dysfunctional relationship, and I know in my relationship when my husband was harsh or hurtful, the first thought that I had was forget it. I don't touch me, don't come near me. And when you apologize, which I rarely got, when you apologize, then fine, we'll consider that after I heal. But when you're in a dysfunctional relationship and you rarely, if ever, get that, then you don't heal and you end up just shutting yourself down and having sex because you have to. And I have had women say to me, I don't drink, but I have to get drunk before I have sex. Commonly, what they say is, I feel used. I feel like a prostitute. That is not God's intention for your sexual relationship in your marriage. That is not healthy sex. That is not you, your husband loving you as his own body. That is not okay. So what ends up happening often is the woman just gets mad, she shuts down because it's too painful, too hurtful. She either does it and hates it and just gets it over with, which does not bring them together, does not bring intimacy in their marriage, or she just stops doing it and then he gets mad and they just get further apart. So there is some truth to the fact that you that will be just another area of division if you don't have sex. However, if you're having sex and you're not enjoying it and you're not wanting to, then it is a red flag. It is something that needs to be addressed. And instead of just shutting down and not having sex, the better thing for you to do is to simply say, I would love to have sex. I would like to be intimate with you. I would like to have that be a really healthy part of our marriage, but I can't when I feel hurt. I can't when you yell at me. I can't when you treat me unkindly. I can't when you've been harsh. I can't when after you've just yelled at the kids. Speaking the truth, but then add the other part. When, when you treat me kindly, when you're soft, when you help with the kids, when you're kind to the kids, when you interact with us, when you apologize for something you've done wrong, when you take my needs into consideration, I want to be with you. And so then when any type of change happens in that, then try to move toward your husband physically to where he'll know that if he does treat you differently, that there may be a restoration of that part of your marriage. Now, I'm simplifying this to put it into a video. There's so many other issues that could be talked about, and there's so many like just complexities. But in general, you don't need to be forcing yourself to have sex and just pushing down all the things that are pushing you away. You need to be speaking the truth. You need to not be feeling like you have to have sex if your husband is having an affair or you don't know if he's cheating on you, because then that is dangerous to you and you have a right to protect yourself. So there are, like I said, there's so many different areas that could be talked about. But for those women who are married to a man who doesn't want to have sex, I think the issue needs to be talked about and addressed. And there are times where, they're completely powerless over that and they have to make a decision. And again, finding out what the reason for that is there, later in life, there are medication changes and there are health changes that can affect that. And so figuring that out, expecting your spouse to go to the doctor if there is a physical reason that, or a psychological reason that they are not able or willing to have sex. That is part of taking care of the problems and addressing issues that are stand in the way with you having an intimate, close relationship. So that is okay to ask your spouse to do that. Now, if the person refuses, then again, you have to make decisions as far as what you're willing to live with and not willing to live with. That I think it's clear from scripture that there needs to be or should be the possibility or at least a sexual relationship. I know people who have married somebody and this is often like in a second marriage and never had sex, never consummated the marriage, and they've just accepted that. I don't think you don't have to accept that. I mean, that is not a marriage. But my main purpose for doing this video is to let you know that if you're not wanting to have sex because something is going on in the relationship that is pushing you away and causing you to shut down emotionally, then you need to state that and state what it is that could change, that would change your feelings of wanting to be intimate. And if something is happening sexually that is harmful to you or not safe, or in any way you have a right to say absolutely no, um, you do still have control over your body. And it's not that you are just passively allow your husband to do anything that he wants to you. That is not what scripture talks about. Remember, he is to love you as he loves his own body, for no one neglects their own body. That's in Ephesians 5. If he loves his own body, he would not do anything that hurt it or was harmful. And it's so if he loves you as he is supposed to, he will not be doing anything to you that would harm you or hurt you or make you want to shut down to him. And if he is, you need to let him know. And if you can't, that is just further proof that your marriage is a difficult or dysfunctional or toxic or destructive marriage that eventually needs to be dealt with. So I hope this is helpful. If you are struggling with this, my classes, Women Thriving in Difficult Marriages, Transforming Difficult Relationships, both teach my 10 principles. I do those on Zoom. I do them in person in Yorba Linda, California, and they're also available for self-study. And I also have books that the When Love Hurts and also 10 Life-Saving Principles for Women in Difficult Relationships. Please feel free to write me your questions. I'm sure that there will be many questions on this. God bless you.